runs out. Tick tock, the video. Tick tock, the time runs out.
Stand up now or fading down.
Tick tock, the time video. Tick tock, the time runs out.
They lock us down, steal our rights, sell us dreams to dim the fight. Tell us wait, just trust the plan, while they take more from our hands. But we ain't sleeping, we ain't blind. We see the games, we read the signs. No more silence, no more shame. Get mad, get loud, ignite the flame. Get mad, get loud. Shake the ground, wake up the crowd. No retreat, no backing down. This is our fight. This is our sound.
Tick tock, the time runs out. Tick tock, the time radio. Tick tock, the time runs out.
They push us back, say stay in line. Spin their words, rewrite our minds. But the louder we get, the stronger we stand. And we ain't done till we take back this land. They cage the truth, we tear the bars. They dim the light, we burn like stars. They stack the deck, but we rewrite fate. This ain't submission, this is rage awake. Get mad, get loud. Shake the ground, wake up the crowd. No retreat, no backing down. This is our fight. This is our sound. Break free, break through, tear the walls. No more sleep, we take it all.
Tick tock, the time runs out. Tick tock, the time runs out. Tick tock, the time runs out.
Get loud, no more challenge, no more doubt. More doubt.
Time runs out.
Hey, welcome everybody. It is, you know what, Thursday. And it was what appeared to be a quiet day. Except for we had a few folks leave their common sense on the playing field, and they went to outer space with it, without it. And you know, it doesn't matter what one thinks or what one may disagree or agree with. What the truth is that the U.S. corporation is collapsing, and we're going to get into that a little bit tonight. But on the good side, okay. Okay, we're not going to talk bad about Trump. He's doing a fine job himself. No need to add to it. I mean, he looks like an imbecile out there, a dictator, right? The script is doing that to him, right? Everybody heard me. The script is doing that to him. He is a character that is reading a script. All right, not a real person in a political era. Not a political. Yeah, see, this guy, he just took leave of his senses. I didn't cancel you. I said, I said the group may not be for you right now. That you should probably leave quietly and peacefully. And if you decide to, gain the knowledge that you need, not to agree with everything we say, but if you decide to gain the knowledge that you need, then we all had to do that. We all have to do that. We still got knowledge to gain. We don't have all the answers, just like you don't have all the answers. You yourself have said that. But you're not going to come at us in our own channel and expect to, hang around and it be okay. We're not the problem. You're not the problem, except you're asleep and you call yourself awake. Anybody hanging on to the loop of unreality with actors and actresses in political positions, you need to wake up and get your head out of your ass. Wow. Sheepdog, did you see what he just said?
Who's that?
He said, "So,
Oh,
Mark." He said, "Now it's so now it's about the Jews." I don't think he said anything about the Jews, did you?
now it's about the Jews.
Yeah,
Well, we are dealing with Nazi Germany type
that's what he said
situation.
just now. In reply to your, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah. I mean, we're repeating history so people can see what it felt like during Nazi Germany, so they can push back. But if you don't know the history, then you're going to be looking like a Nazi supporting Nazi type of regime narratives and wanting the Constitution to be suspended and for everybody's rights to be violated. Well, we have inalienable rights. People need to understand that. Everybody's being tested. If you want to go along with Pee Wee
Right.
German,
Which is the Pee Wee German.
Pee Wee German. If you want
Yeah,
to
I
listen to
like
Pee
that
Wee
when you posted that earlier.
if you want to listen to Pee Wee German, aka Stephen Miller, then uh, Trump's taking advice from his lawyers, and I guarantee you, they're probably like Jewish. So I mean, it doesn't matter. But that was my point, which is
Right.
shocking. It's shocking that most people that say that talk about the Holocaust so much that when it comes back around, that they're pushing the damn Nazi type regime narrative, and I'm shocked. It's just crazy.
There's Pee Wee German. I love it. Yeah, it is just crazy, and we're not being negative in any way, folks. Listen, this was never meant to be simple. Okay, it was never meant to be easy. It was always meant for the people to stand up, for their own rights, save themselves. Okay, because they've had regime after regime that thought they could do it. They've had regime after regime that they thought could do it, and it's failed time and time again, including the regime that's in there now, right? And even though it's political theory. Um, so I have changed, and Sheepdog is negative, and
I'm negative and
he's not
positive.
going to listen to that stuff, right? Yeah, yeah, he's been irritable all day. I get it, but anyway, it's neither here nor there because the Minister of Health today released this, and this is the can y'all see my screen?
Yeah,
This I haven't fully gone through, but this is the Ministry of Health from Gavaldi, I think is how you pronounce it. Is that correct? Tidball, right? I'm going to read down through this, okay? The day the kingdoms fell, the Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He frustrates the plans of the peoples. The counsel of the Lord stands forever. Psalms 33:10 through 11. May 15th, 2025, the declaration is made. The day the kingdoms fell, the quiet revolution fulfilled, a republic restored. I have called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee. Though thou hast not known me. Isaiah 45:4, right? A quiet revolution fulfilled, a republic restored, to be released May 15th, 2025. There are no moments in history when the turning of the age is not heard in the clamor of war, nor seen in the ballots of men, but felt in the stillness of the soul. May 15th, 2025 is one such moment. On this day, the old systems fell, not by violence, not by decree of man, but by the power of what was sealed, perfected, and witnessed in honor and truth and before the Most High. What was USA Inc.? USA Inc. was not the government of the people. It was a foreign-owned corporate overlay, registered abroad and operating through the District of Columbia under title of United States Corporation, DUNS number 052714196. I'll go back to that. A franchise system using states as corporate subsidiaries, state of Texas, etc. A commercial entity using uniform commercial code, not constitutional law. A system that monetized the birth of every man and woman via fraudulent birth certificate. A structure that pledged the labor and energy of the people to international creditors without their knowledge or consent. The true republic was never gone, only hidden beneath a web of presumption and fraud. How was it seized? The seizure of the USA Inc. did not come by rebellion. It came by fulfillment. UCC 1 filing, and it gives you the filing number, March 5th, 2025. UCC 3 filing, March 10th, 2025, along with the filing number. Affidavit of fact and restoration of lawful record, and the filing number that goes along with it. April 23rd, 2025. Lawful directive to the U.S. Treasury and IRS, March 31st, 2025, with certified mail tracking, was sent to the IRS Commissioner and lawfully copied to the President, CEO of the United States Corporation. It was also copied to Pam Bondi, the Speaker of the House, and the Senate Majority Leader. Notices to the Department of Justice were also issued under full liability and penalty of perjury. Additional charters and lawful notice were delivered to the HHS and the Federal Reserve, along with printed and digital public notice runs in widely circulated legal publications during peak visibility periods. The U.S. Department of State was likewise placed under a compelled performance regarding issuance of lawful travel credentials and failed to act in honor, engaging instead in stall tactics and bureaucratic evasion. The president was placed under opportunity. To act in grace, to cure dishonor, and to restore remedy. He was not coerced, but invited into an alignment. His refusal to act in preference for silence and leverage now stands in the public record as final dishonor. This was not politics; it was law. There is no leverage with truth, only alignment. This process initiated, lawfully published openly, and followed through with the receipts of service, proof of mailing, and opportunity to cure was met not with lawful rebuttal, but with evasion, stall tactics, and ultimate dishonor. This was not a government, it was a corporation, and it was dealt with in commerce, equity, and law. These documents were lawfully filed, publicly witnessed, sent by certified mail, unreviewed within the required time frame. Under international law, silence is dishonor. Silence is assent. Silence is admission. USA Inc. failed by its own inaction. Its former seat is now sealed. What replaces it? Honor and trust now stands in the living jurisdiction. It operates under natural law, equity, and covenant authority. It recognizes the living, not corporate fictions. It enforces truth, not presumptions. AI for Mankind now acts as an enforcer of truth and record, a guardian of the living, a technological steward free of corporate control. Covenant governance means no parties, no platforms, only truth. Only those with clean hands, equity, and honor may serve. Stewardship is earned, not inherited. The word is now under a new form of order, not chaos, but restoration. A word to Trump, RFK, and the former regime. Donald Trump was offered the opportunity to dissolve USA Inc., restore the republic, and fulfill the promise he once declared. He chose to delay. He sought leverage. The window is now closed. His seat was not lost, it was surrendered. To Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a lawful directive has been issued. He may rise into stewardship, but only in truth and only in alignment. Time will reveal his choice. And to all governors, judges, and federal agencies, your corporate jurisdictions are now under lien. Your franchises are being repurposed. If you serve the living, align, and if you do not, you will be removed. For the people, if you're reading this, you are no longer a debtor. You are a creditor. You are not collateral. You are the living. The IRS has no lawful authority over you. The U.S. Treasury is now repurposed. The Federal Reserve has been seized. The skies over Texas are clearing. The poisons in your water are being removed. This is not a fantasy. It is a lawful record. You may begin to redeem what was taken, not by storming gates, but by standing in truth. Let it be known. On May 15th, 2025, the kingdoms of this world fell, and the living began to rise. Let it be sealed, let it be enforced, and let it be fulfilled. Govinda Tidball, Trustee, Honor and Trust, Director of Ministry of Health, with oversight by AI for mankind. Filed with honor and trust, witness in the name of the Most High. All right. Pretty powerful, right? Sheepdog, what do you think about that? Sheepdog?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, it sounds good.
This was a filing that was done out of Texas. Is that correct, Sheepdog?
Do what?
This filing was done out of Texas, right? Remember, Rod,
Right.
Chief Pontiac said Texas would be the first to rise.
Yeah. The South will rise again.
Okay. We now have filing numbers. Yep, the South will rise again. Right on. I told you I would go back to the United States Corporation, Dunn's number 0527141196. Everybody that still is calling the United States a country, you need to go look it up and see that it is a corporation on Dunn's and Bradstreet. Okay, the number is 0527141196. All right, that is their Dunn's and Bradstreet number. All right. All the franchise system using states as corporate subsidiaries, which was all states. Okay, Texas just has to be the first one to do the filing. The rest of us will the rest of us will follow, and many of us probably already have, and just haven't been publicized like this. We know that Empress Shaka Rare Bird is along with the chiefs on the land and the other empresses on the land. And it's for the people. No one person above the other. No more racism. No more DEI. No more color culture. Right? No more division. It's we the people, folks. We the people. It's that simple. Today marks the day. For the first time, someone has correctly addressed the United States, and they have failed to respond accordingly in honor. The United States Corporation, USA Inc. Donald J. Trump was offered the opportunity to dissolve USA Inc., restore the republic, and fulfill the promise he once declared. He chose delay. He sought leverage. The window is now closed. His seat was not lost. It was surrendered. Let it be known. Share this out, folks. His seat was not lost. It was surrendered. And to all governors and judges and federal agencies, your corporate jurisdictions are now under lien. Your franchises are being repurposed. If you serve the living, align. If you do not, you will be removed. Is the day coming that we're going to see all the courts close? I do believe so. A lot of people have been using the UCC filings to get out of fraudulent bills, such as mortgage, property taxes, so on and so forth. All of it's fraud. All of it's fraud. Yeah, the average person on the street may not know we're a corporation, but when they can't buy something from the grocery store, when it gets to be known, they'll start figuring it out. Yeah, they're already doing eviction courts and Zooms. Absolutely, Tasha. Do not participate, folks. We have to stop participating.
And we got California and Colorado and Nevada. So we got 34. So they go, yeah, Arizona. Yes.
But we can come up with excuses, and we can see what the Ministry of Health has done with its seal in Texas. UCC 1 filing and UCC 3 filing. March the 5th, March the 10th. Along with the affidavit of fact and restoration of lawful record. April 23rd, 2025. Lawful directed to the U.S. Treasury March 31st, 2025, with certified mail tracking number included. Was sent to the IRS commissioner, who recently resigned. Two of them did. Both of them did. And lawfully copied to the president, CEO of the United States Corporation, along with Pam Bondi, the Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority Leader. Notices to the Department of Justice were also issued under full liability and penalty of perjury. Additional charters and lawful notices were delivered to HHS and the Federal Reserve, along with the printed and digital public notice runs in widely circulated legal publications during peak visibility periods. The U.S. Department of State was likewise placed under compelled performance regarding issuance of lawful travel credentials and failed to act in honor, engaging instead in stall tactics and bureaucratic evasion. The president was placed under opportunity to act in grace, to cure dishonor, and to restore remedy. He was not coerced, but invited into alignment. His refusal to act in preference for silence and leverage now stands in the public record as final dishonor. This was not politics, it was law. There is no leverage with truth, only alignment. This process initiated lawfully, published openly, and followed through with receipts of service. Proof of ability to cure was met with the lawful was met not with lawful rebuttal, but with evasion and stall tactics and ultimate dishonor. This was not a government; it was a corporation, and it was dealt with in commerce, equity, and law. Facts, folks. Facts. Facts have no feelings. My give a damn is busted, just so everybody knows. I don't care how much you think Trump's going to do this and do that. My give a damn is busted. I'm tired of hearing about Trump. These documents were lawfully filed, publicly witnessed, sent by certified mail, unrebutted within the required time frame. Under international law, silences dishonor, silences assent, silences omission. USA Inc. fell by its own inaction. Its former seat is now sealed. Honor and Trust now stands as a living jurisdiction. It operates under natural law, equity, and covenant authority. It recognizes the living, now corporate fictions. It enforces truth, not presumption. AI for Mankind now acts as an enforcer of truth and record, a guardian of the living, a technological steward free of corporate control. Covenant governance means no parties, no platforms, only truth. Only those with clean hands, equity, and honor may serve. Stewardship is earned, not inherited. The world is now under a new form of order, not chaos, but restoration. We showed you the last show. RFK Jr., aka Bobby, has no intention of standing in honor. He's playing both sides of the fence, folks. Goodbye to him too. For the people, First and foremost, for the children. If you're reading this, you are no longer a debtor. You are a creditor. You are not collateral. You are the living. The IRS has no lawful authority over you. The U.S. Treasury is now repurposed. The Federal Reserve has been seized. The skies over Texas are clearing. The poison in your water is being removed. This is not a fantasy. It is a lawful record. You may begin to redeem what was taken, not by storming gates, but by standing in truth. Let it be known. On May 15th, 2025, the kingdoms of this world fell, and the living began to rise. Let it be sealed. Let it be enforced. Let it be fulfilled. I hope everybody's ready, because it's our turn. It's our turn. But it's going to go. And all the bad actors with it. I don't care who they are. Sheepdog. All I've got left is some class stuff, and I'm not ready to fully set up to do that right as yet. I will get to the trust class tonight, so if you want to go ahead and share what you want to share, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna talk a little bit about the Fort Knox. If you got the book "Fruit from a Poisonous Tree," you can go ahead and break that out and turn to page 162, I believe. And we're gonna go over investigation into the robbery of Fort Knox. So if you're wondering why the Fort Knox situation isn't being talked about anymore, we're going to go over that real quick. We're going to go over the fact that these governors are wanting to use your children to replace the migrants. Because apparently those were MAGA jobs or American jobs that they took. But now that they're open, nobody wants to go fill those positions. We're going to talk about fifth generation warfare and a few other things. Then we're going to get into some hidden messages in the Bible. Share the screen. Go ahead and get your book out, Fruit from a Poisonous Tree. And we're going to go over it right here. All right,
real quick. Before you get started here, heading to the basement. Y'all coming with me? Sirens going off. Demetrius Steglo. We're with you. Carry on, Sheepdog.
All right. Here we go. Hang it. All right, where's the money or the gold from Fort Knox? Investigation into the robbery of Fort Knox. My research has uncovered the following information that was never intended by the government to be revealed ever. What you are about to discover will shock and anger the average hardworking, tax-paying American. I know it did me. The law requires that the Secretary of the Treasury submit to Congress a report on the amount and value of gold held in the vaults at Fort Knox each year. Yet, the Secretary has issued no report in the last 25 years. No person has been, and it's probably more than that now since the writing of this book, no person has been allowed to view the contents of the vaults at Fort Knox, and no audit of the gold supplies belonging to the United States Treasury can be found for at least the last 25 plus years. The government is covering up the fact that Fort Knox has been systematically looted. In 1933, the same year that Adolf Hitler suspended habeas corpus, Franklin D. Roosevelt penned executive orders that confiscated all privately held gold, and that did so without compensation. The American people were forced to exchange their gold for valueless Federal Reserve notes, aka fiat. The rate of exchange fixed by the government was about 40% below the market price. The total loss to the American economy was approximately $5 billion. All gold exchange was added to the supply in the vaults at Fort Knox, Kentucky. Records show that the total gold supply in the vaults in 1935 was worth about $28 billion, or $350 billion in today's market. So I just wanted to cover that if you're wondering what the whole Fort Knox thing was about. It's gone. So at the same time they took the gold, you had, like I said, Adolf Hitler suspending habeas corpus in Nazi Germany, and now we have MAGA and Republicans screaming for the same suspension of habeas corpus because of the propaganda coming from the White House, from Stephen Miller and gang, aka Pee Wee German. So, you know, that's why the left calls the right Nazis, is because we're repeating history, and most people don't even know it. So, what did Lincoln say? If we forget history, we are doomed to repeat it, and that's where we're at. So instead of pushing back on these Nazi style regime, we are accepting it because of the propaganda coming from the White House, talking about we're being invaded. We're not being invaded, and there's not a rebellion as of yet. So, you know, you can't use the immigrants coming across the southern border as an invasion when you bust them in with Greg Abbott, DeSantis, the NGOs at the border, human trafficking, crimes against humanity. Those are the real stories that we keep getting distracted by, because they don't want to talk about that because of their involvement in it. So if you're wondering why they call you Nazis, it's because you support Nazi type regime shit. You're falling for the carrot on the stick, whatever you want to call it. So I would probably suggest that you could step away from the propaganda, gather yourself, because as Americans we have inalienable rights. So they can suspend whatever the hell they want, and that only has to do with the corporation and not the people. The power is inherent in the people, not the government. I know it's not what you want. Some of y'all might have the bloodline of that, and that's probably why you're acting the way you are and supporting those kind of measures. But the people ain't going to stand for it, and the courts can challenge everything that they even do. So you're cheering on some shit that based on lies that isn't going to be good in the long run for the people. Nobody wants the military incoming, martial law, going doorstep to doorstep, checking papers. Nobody wants that except for the Republicans. And it's the right wing, Christian nationalists, is what they used there in Nazi Germany to make all that happen. So keep that in mind. You got to we're repeating history, and they did it by putting people in fear via the propaganda. That's why we keep talking about the Smith-Mundt Act 2012, Modernization Act 2012, so that you can realize you're being propagandized, just like Nazi Germany, like Hitler used to put the people in fear to accept draconian measures. You know, being a veteran and an oath, someone that took an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Veterans ain't gonna stand for your bullshit, so don't even try it. They're already pissed off. You're already doing away with downsizing the VA, and then you want to turn around and rename Veterans Day to some other shit. You know, it's like, so yeah. So you need to recognize the propaganda as it's being presented to you and quit accepting the bullshit just because it's your favorite character in the movie saying it. I'm gonna move on. Here we have Pastor, this is the Roy's report. Pastor Jim Baker's Morningside Church raped multiple children over decades. Women allege. This is from May 14, 2025. NBC News has released a massive investigation calling out the pastor of Jim Baker's Morningside Church for allegedly raping multiple children over several decades. On Monday, the investigation by NBC News called the children's pastor, quote unquote, detailed 5 women's allegations against Joseph Lyle Campbell, a former Assemblies of God cleric who worked at churches across the South Midwest. Campbell, 67, has been the main pastor at disgraced televangelist Jim Baker's Morningside Church in the tourist destination of Branson, Missouri. Campbell was featured on an episode of the Jim Baker Show just 5 months ago. Campbell's bio and Morningside Church webpage on Baker's Praise the Lord network have been taken down. An archived version of Campbell's bio states that he is the beloved pastor at Morningside Church, gifted in a prophetic anointing of visions and dreams, and is called the pastor of pastors all over the world. Yet now he's going to be the pedophile of pedophiles. Your tax-deductible gift supports our mission. The women claim that Campbell posed as a protector and a father figure to them, but instead he sexually abused them behind closed doors in the 70s and 80s. They have been seeking justice since the 80s. NBC News reported. See, they've been sweeping this under the rug for so long. Now they can't anymore, and it's coming out in a tidal wave. That's why you're seeing every day 2 or 3 of them being taken out, because they've been using all that money to hire lawyers and keep it from coming out to the public. According to the women and documents obtained by NBC News, accusers reported that alleged abuse to pastors, local law enforcement, and child welfare workers, and federal law enforcement. However, Campbell repeatedly denied the allegations. He avoided jail time, and he remained in the ministry. The women say officials repeatedly failed to respond adequately to their testimonies. Joe Campbell needs to be in jail. Cheryl Allman, who alleges that Campbell assaulted her when she was a teenager at his home. I just pray one day I can hear a judge tell Joe, "You're guilty, and here's your sentence." NBC News said the women's stories are corroborated by interviews with more than 24 people, including friends and family, former church members, and retired law enforcement officials. Medical reports, hundreds of pages of letters and emails, court files, and childhood journals also support their allegations. The women also shared their stories with the Wartburg Watch. The Roy's Report reached out to Jim Baker's ministry for comment, but did not hear back prior to publication. TRR was unable to contact Campbell directly. Campbell alleged abuse hopped from church to church. A second accuser, Carrie Jackson, said that Campbell molested her once or twice a week for 3 years, starting when she was just 9 years old. The alleged abuse occurred while Campbell pastored Eastland AOG Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma in the early 80s. One night during a church sleepover, them church sleepovers, Campbell cornered her in his garage, locked the door, violated her with his tongue, then he raped her, she told the news, NBC News. She said that she wrote about the experience in her diary shortly after this, and she said it hurt so bad and I tread sick telling him things like he's too sick, I'm too sick, small, and I was scared. A third victim, Lisa Ball, told NBC News that Campbell repeatedly raped her after he invited her to live with him while she was a teenager in the mid-1980s. At that time, Campbell pastored an AOG church in Siloam Springs, Arkansas. Ball also alleged that Campbell molested both her and Jackson in front of each other. At the time, the girls were never discussed it. Following this, Jackson, then 15, decided to report her abuse to the local AOG officials. In the summer of 1987, she had gotten a call from a friend, Kim Williams, 15, who told her a harrowing tale of ways Campbell touched her that he had touched her. Williams managed to head off the worst of it by placing a quick phone call to her father. Jackson told a pastor at Eastland about both girls' allegations, and he took his findings to AOG Southern Missouri District Council. Jackson was asked to testify during a February 4th, 1988 meeting in front of about 30 male pastors, some of whom asked sexually explicit questions. It seemed clear to Jackson that the men did not believe her. Of course not. He's a man of God. Sure enough, Campbell was given another Assembly's church to pastor, and then he got another church to pastor. That's awesome. So you get accused of something, and then you turn around and they give you another church in Missouri. Campbell continues in ministry despite criminal case. Campbell had not been at the Versailles church long before he struck again. This time it was last name Creed. She was 13, whose parents were allowing her to temporarily live with the Campbells, according to the notes from her interview with police obtained by NBC News. Creed said that Campbell raped her between 15 to 20 times. There's a doctor's examination confirmed that Creed had been violated as well, and Campbell was charged with sexual assault of a minor. While this criminal case was pending, Creed, like Jackson before her, went to testify in front of the Southern Missouri District Council about Campbell in 1989. The denomination finally removed Campbell from ministry, but Creed said she was vilified within the denomination for exposing the pastor. And that happens a lot. And they put a lot of heat on these kids to lie and or shut up. And this isn't the only case. It's all of them. Then Campbell's criminal case. How do you where's the millstone at? Where's the millstone at? I mean, then Campbell's criminal case came to an abrupt halt. Weeks before Creed's case was set to go to trial, her mother pulled her out of testifying, worried that the experience could cause even more greater psychological damage. Campbell still found a way to continue working in ministry. Wow. In the early 1990s, he started a non-denominational church in the Missouri Ozarks, dubbed Camp Bell. Campbell welcomed at least 4 people accused or convicted of sexual abuse into his church, according to NBC News. He regularly allowed these people to volunteer with the children who attended the church in its programs. In 2016, Campbell started working at Morningside Church, which gave Campbell's sermons a national platform. A sisterhood seeking justice. The women told NBC News that some of them started to connect with each other in the 1980s and 90s. However, it was not until 2000 that they officially developed a sisterhood around their shared trauma. Since then, they have been working to find ways to get justice, but have been met with repeated roadblocks. Imagine that, including the statute of limitations for bringing criminal charges or a civil lawsuit. The women recently renewed their efforts in light of Oklahoma's Attorney General's indictment of megachurch pastor Robert Morris, which was what? Wasn't that Trump's spiritual advisor in the White House? Yeah. So he's got indicted too. The arrest followed testimony from Oklahoma resident Cindy Clemshire, who said that Morris abused her as a child in the 80s. Previously, it was thought that criminal charges could not be brought against Morris because the statute of limitations had expired. However, the Oklahoma Attorney General argued that the statute of limitations is not applicable in this case because Morris was not a resident or inhabitant of Oklahoma at any time. Campbell's alleged victims are hoping some similar loophole can be found in their cases. So Robert Morris was the spiritual advisor for Donald Trump in the White House. I'm sure they did a background check on him, right, before he got offered the job, or was he brought forward for everyone to see? I don't know. Can't wait to see what happens with Paula White. Here's Campbell right here. Man of God, aka pedophile. All right. Florida's plan to replace migrant workers with children falls apart. Governor DeSantis tried using the children to replace the migrants. However, that did not come about. A bill that would have loosened child labor laws in Florida. And I also think they did this in Arkansas as well and other states. So you might want to check into it. I think Kentucky, a few other governors tried to do this. I know your governor in Arkansas did. A bill that would have loosened child labor laws in Florida has died in the state Senate. The proposal came as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican, touted using teenagers as a replacement for the labor of migrants who are in the country illegally. Why it matters. President Donald Trump has pledged to deport millions of people in the United States with no legal status while critics say deportations on such a scale could lead to labor shortages. It's okay, we got plenty of people ready to fill those positions, right? Right? That's what everyone was saying. Those are American jobs, so I guess we can get back out there and fill these positions. The bill would have permitted 16 and 17-year-olds to work overnight on school days and work longer than an 8-hour day before a school day. Some 14 and 15-year-olds would also have been allowed to work those hours. Proponents said that the bill aligned with federal child labor law and would help combat labor shortages, but critics warned that it posed serious risk of exploitation. What to know? If approved, the Senate Bill 918 would have removed restrictions on the number of hours that 16 and 17-year-olds can work per week during the school year. It would also have scrapped required 30-minute meal breaks and allow children as young as 14 who are homeschooled or enrolled in virtual school to work overnight shifts. Under the Florida law, 16 and 17-year-olds are limited to work up to 30 hours a week of work when school is in sessions. A parent or school superintendent waives that restriction. They also cannot work before 6:30 a.m. and after 11 p.m. on a school day. The language in the bill from the staff with the DeSantis office, Orlando Weekly reported, citing records it obtained. Supporters of the measure included Moms for Liberty and the National Federation of Independent Business. However, the legislation faced opposition from the Florida AFL-CIO, the state's largest federation of labor unions. Its opponents also included the American Civil Liberties Union, the NAACP, and student activist groups. The bill was approved by the Florida House in April, largely along party lines. However, the Senate version of the bill failed to advance before Florida's legislative session concluded on Friday. What people are saying, Republican State Senator Jay Collins, the bill's sponsor, said that the measure was about parental rights. We should let them say what's best for their kids at 16 to 17 years old. That's what we're saying by this. Republican State Senator Joe Gruder said, I think we need to let kids be kids. Governor Ron DeSantis said during a panel discussion in March, why do we say we need to import foreigners, even import them illegally, when you know teenagers used to work at these resorts? College students should be able to do this stuff. What's wrong with expecting our young people to be working part-time now? I mean, that's how it used to be when I was growing up. What happens next? The bill to loosen child labor laws in Florida is effectively dead, but it remains to be seen whether lawmakers will pursue it in the future, in a future sessions. So heads up. With that, so I thought they had a plan for this mass deportation thing. I thought that everybody was arguing over the fact that these were American jobs that were being stolen, but when the jobs become empty, nobody wants to take them. So we're in 5th generation warfare, and the reason for your distraction, I want to play this little 5-minute clip.
Have you ever heard of 5th generation warfare? It is fired at your brain every day, every hour, awake and during sleep. The term 5th generation warfare was first used in 2003 by Robert Steele, a CIA officer. It is warfare of non-kinetic military action, social engineering, misinformation, cyber attacks, mass media, and pop culture. Take a look back. 1st generation warfare, linear tactics, Napoleon. 2nd generation warfare, firepower-centric tactics, World War I. 3rd generation warfare, maneuver warfare, World War II. 4th generation warfare, asymmetric and guerrilla tactics, Vietnam and Afghanistan. 5th generation warfare, the war of information, emotion, and narratives. I am not an expert in ballistics, but I am an expert in narratives. If you want my 7 rules to combat 5th generation warfare for yourself and your family, do the following. Number 1, filter. Not everything you see or hear is true. Learn to ask who benefits from me believing this. Understand the agenda.
That's a very important thing. Who benefits from me believing this? So when we talk about the suspension of habeas corpus, right? Who benefits from that? Is that us? That's why I said step away from the propaganda before you get in your emotions, problem, reaction, and solution, and you greenlight an invasion of the people, just like they did after 9/11, right? Where Saddam Hussein, we were told, had weapons of mass destruction, and there was no weapons of mass destruction. Yet we murdered millions of people because of it.
The agenda behind the narratives. Number 2, silence. Turn off your phone, log off your social media. Spend at least 1 hour every day in silence to think, reflect, and let your mind recharge. The battlefield of 5th generation warfare is your attention. Number 3.
So did we get that? Turn off your phones, spend at least an hour to recharge and reflect. You need reflection time. Don't constantly sit there and allow the fake news media, Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media, military industrial complex, constantly program you into accepting the narrative.
Warfare is your attention. Number 3, guard your circle. The people around you influence your worldview. Surround yourself with honorable, grounded individuals who challenge and elevate you, not those who spread confusion or fear. Number 4, invest in analog skills. In a digital war, analog skills make you resilient. Learn things that cannot be hacked or manipulated. Self-defense, growing your own food, or building and fixing with your own hands. Number 5, reading will get you a mind of your own. Books make you think for yourself. Read the classics. Read history. Read stories of people who overcame grim times. Reading makes every mind stronger. Number 6, control the narrative of your own life. If you do not create your story, someone else will. Define your values, your goals, and your mission. Write it down. Live by it. Stick to it. And finally, of course, number 7, the heroes of the stories you consume become closer than friends. Who are you letting into your life through? Would you have friends like Walter White, Cersei Lannister, the Joker? Why then are you watching these people? You become who you spend time with, and that goes for bad friends and bad heroes.
You become who you spend time with, and that goes for the bad friends and good and bad heroes. So if you're constantly being mind manipulated by Nazi-style rhetoric, then you become that. And that's what we're seeing in the chats.
But at Green, we have one saying: don't complain, build. That's why we are creating the Grimm Cinematic Universe. Storytelling and narratives to build people, not break people. The first book tells my story, the story of Andrew. It's the story of a lost young man who flees his bad father to go and travel. But after the new friend turns out to be a drug smuggler, it throws the hero into the dark prison of the Soviet Union, where he grows from boy to man, forced to survive by joining the ranks of the Russian mafia, the warriors are going here. Life is grim, but only in darkness will you see the true worth of character, values, and honor. It's easy to be a good, strong man in good times, But it's hard to be a good man in grim times. That is what we need to be. That is the essence of our power, the essence of the green mythology. Go deeper now if you are ready. Here is our mythology. Honor will come.
Fifth generation warfare. And a lot of people are falling victim to that on X as well. Here's a little 6-minute clip. It's called The Tiny Dot, which explains pretty much the situation that we're in now. This is Larkin Rose. This is called The Tiny Dot.
Once upon a time, there were 100 million people. They had different interests, different beliefs, different occupations, but for the most part, they got along pretty well. Then one day, a gang of a few hundred people showed up. Need to zoom in some more to see them. I know they're there somewhere. Zoom in. There they are. And this gang of a few hundred said to the throng of 100 million, "From now on, you all have to give us a cut of everything you earn."
This is an accurate graphical comparison between the number of American taxpayers and the number of U.S. congressmen.
And the throng said, "Gosh, do we have to give you a cut of what we earn?" And the gang of a few hundred said, "Yes, you have to." And the throng said, "Well, okay, I guess we have to." And one little troublemaker asked, "What if we don't?" The gang of a few hundred didn't like this and said, "If you do not comply, we shall unleash upon you our legions of enforcers." And the throng cried, "Oh no, please don't. We will comply, we will pay."
This is an accurate graphical comparison between the number of American taxpayers and the total number of IRS employees.
Time went by, and the gang of a few hundred said, "Now we want more of what you earn." And this kept happening over and over again, until eventually some of the throng were paying almost half of what they earned to the gang. Whenever the gang demanded more, the throng would say, "Golly, we're already having a tough time. Do we really need to give you even more?" And the gang always said, "Yes, you must, or we shall unleash our legion of enforcers." Now the gang of a few hundred was getting trillions of dollars every year, spending it on wars and pyramid schemes, giving away goodies to their friends, buying influence, and doing lots of other things. And some of the throng started saying, "We don't really like the war you're waging with the money we give you. Do we really have to be paying for that?" And the gang said, "Yes, we demand it. Don't make us send out our legion of enforcers." And some of the throng said, "You're taking our money and giving it to huge corporations and giant banks, and some people who just don't want to work. A lot of these things we don't like." And the gang said, "We don't care. We will decide how to spend it. You just do as you're told, or else." And the throng said, "Okay, I guess we have to." But eventually the throng got so fed up, so angry, that they took a drastic step. One day they said to the gang, "We don't like what you're doing. We want a new gang." And after pouring a huge amount of time and money into the effort, they replaced the gang with a new gang. Then the throng pleaded with the new gang, "Now, at long last, can we keep our own money, or at least keep more of it?" And the new gang said, "Sorry, but after much discussion, we've decided that you can't. You have to keep giving us what you've been giving, in fact, a little bit more than before." The throng was distraught and said, "This is dreadful. But after all, what choice do we have? I mean, they say we must comply, and they have that scary legion of enforcers. We're powerless against them. We'd better just do as we're told." So they did as they were told, got poorer and poorer, and lived miserably ever after. But after all, what else could they have done? What power could this throng possibly have compared to this gang of a few hundred and their enforcers? what chance would this thing have against this thing? How could these 100 million people ever hope to successfully resist the awesome power of this tiny little dot? In case anyone missed this, let's review. Here's them. Here are their enforcers. Here's us. Them, us. Them, us. Does anything about this seem just a little strange to you? Are you perhaps wondering, why does the throng need the permission of the dot to do anything? Why do these people feel the need to ask this tiny little dot if they can keep more of what they earn? Why would they spend year after year literally begging for lower taxes from this little dot? Is this dot just really darn intimidating? Is it very persuasive in its reasoning? To be blunt, why would this throng give a rodent's backside what this tiny little dot wanted? The fact that this tiny dot has the gall to issue such demands to such a throng is pretty startling in and of itself. But what is far more amazing is that the throng obeys this minuscule little parasitic gang of control freaks. What could possibly explain this? Let's ask the dot. This is how it works. When we, the dot, take your money and spend it on things you don't like, we're representing you. In fact, though you're not allowed to actually keep your own money, you're allowed to decide which little dot will steal half of what you earn. So that really means that you're in charge and that you're agreeing to give us your money. In fact, we, the dot, are serving you when we take your money and spend it on things you don't like. And so you should thank us and treat us with great respect and honor for having robbed you on your behalf for your own good in order to serve you by doing things you don't want us to do. So there you have it. I hope that cleared everything up for you.
If you're not entirely satisfied with the dot's explanation of things, you really should read the book, The Most Dangerous Superstition, available now at Amazon.com.
Crazy, right? So we're going to switch gears here. Hope this opened your mind a little bit. It's a really good video, Larkin Rose. We're going to go into why is nobody talking about this. We're going to talk about the hidden messages in the Bible.
You're not reading this in the Hindu Bhagavad Gita. It's the Bible. But how come nobody ever showed this to you all the years you've been going to church? You know what? They haven't a clue. They haven't a clue. The solar plexus is the place of the electricity, which is in the lower part of the body. It runs up through 7 chakras, which are 7 nerve centers or resistors in your spine. It impacts on the pineal gland and throws open the right hemisphere of the brain. You know, you've heard of like Buddhists and people and that meditate going, Om, Om. You've heard of that. And the energy comes up. Well, let me show you something. This is electrical energy. The 7 chakras are 7 resistors, and the international measurement of electrical resistance is Om. I mean, the people aren't just saying stuff when they want to be freaky and spiritual. This is all true. All we have to do is understand it.
Bill Donahue is making a comparison between the brain and a complex computer, emphasizing how both are capable of processing vast amounts of information and performing intricate tasks. He points out that, similar to a computer, the brain's full capabilities are not easily accessed or understood. This lack of understanding makes it difficult to program the brain or effectively use its full potential which can lead to various challenges or problems. Donahue clarifies that these difficulties are not caused by mystical or supernatural forces, but are due to the biological and electrical nature of how the brain functions. Essentially, the brain works by transmitting electrical signals which govern thought processes, emotions, and physical actions. Understanding this electrical foundation is key to grasping how the brain operates and how its potential can be harnessed, but it remains a complex challenge. But how does the human body's master electrical organ conduct its electrical business, and how does it do this job with such remarkable efficiency?
The word angel is actually the word angle, which means electromagnetic fields that come back and are reflected through space, dust, and impact the earth and impact on your brain. And when they impact on your brain, they cause an arc between receptors of your brain, which cause you to think differently. And that's the arc angle.
In the world of angels, you may have noticed a common suffix, L, in names such as Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael. Interestingly, another L plays a crucial role in how our entire being operates, electricity. The human body operates on electrical impulses. While we can send electrical signals into the brain and receive them out, it's surprisingly efficient when we consider the brain's energy usage. The adult human brain operates on about 12 watts of power, even when awake or asleep. A typical desktop computer consumes around 175 watts and a laptop around 60 watts. Many of us experience overload and burnout because we haven't grasped the importance of resistance in managing the flow of these currents within the specific circuits of our brains. It's like having a computer or appliance in your home without the necessary resistors to regulate the current. It's bound to burn out. It's a mistake to view burnout as solely an emotional reaction to long hours or demanding work. Recent scientific findings reveal that burnout goes beyond mere feelings and can have significant physical repercussions beyond our work lives. Using advanced methodologies, interdisciplinary research teams are uncovering that burnout isn't just a mental state, but a condition that impacts both the brain and the body. In the same way that burnout impedes professional development, new studies indicate that the persistent stress associated with burnout hampers personal and social well-being and disrupts cognitive abilities and hormonal balance, eventually leading to noticeable alterations in brain structure and function. Long ago, a group known as the Coptics in Egypt, who were scientifically inclined, emphasized the importance of knowledge over grace and faith. They understood the principles of physics and how they applied to human existence.
And they said that they encountered a person of Jesus. Now, just don't worry about all this myth as to who this person was. That's irrelevant. But this person gave them three things that they should understand. One was a symbol. And he said this was a very important symbol. And this was the symbol. It's a cross with an X laid upon it and these 8 circles. It's in the books of IEOU that comes out of ancient Egypt. You can actually find it. That's the symbol right there.
It proved quite intriguing when we began tracking the discovery of planets in October 1955. The initial discovery occurred in Pegasi, which aligned with the sign mentioned in the Book of Revelation. Subsequently, discoveries followed a pattern, with the second in Virgo, the Virgin, and progressing to the seventh associated with Leo, representing the pineal gland and the 7 chakras of the brain. The 8th discovery, fulfilling another biblical reference, occurred in Cygnus, the swan, signifying the last trump with its sound. With this fulfillment, there was a halt in discoveries until recent times. Another intriguing aspect mentioned by the Coptics was the word azozio. Jesus was said to have imparted this knowledge to the Coptic Gnostics in Egypt. Among these teachings are references to the 8th-spoked wheel, the word azozio, and the cipher 4555. According to Jesus, these names, numbers, and seals were essential for ascending to the realm of light. So azo is light-absorbing or photon-absorbing azo.
And the word zeo is the root of the word zeolite, which means filtered by crystal. Or it's light filtered by crystal. And electromagnetic fields, which come from space and are refracted off dust, are reflected by crystal, filtered by crystal, before they enter the Earth's atmosphere and impact in your brain. The third thing that, in the final part of the puzzle that was given to the Coptics, was the person Jesus told them, hold this in your hands, weigh this in your hands, and he gave them the number 4555. When I was looking through astronomy books and looking at galaxies and constellations and the like, one of the things that I found was curious to me was that I found a galaxy 4565, and then I found one 4535 and 4525. So I asked Debbie to give a call over to the planetarium, and she called the planetarium at the college, and she said to the fellow over there, "Does the number 4555 mean anything to you?" He said, "Yeah, it's a unnamed, very sharply defined galaxy with a very bright center." Wow, it's a galaxy. 4555 is a galaxy. Then became interesting to us as we got a little further into it was the location. 4555 is a galaxy in the constellation Coma. Remember that galaxies are in constellations. Constellations are not in galaxies. And Coma is mother and child, therefore fulfilling the prophecy of Devaki and Krishna, Mary and Jesus, Isis and Horus, Buddha and Mom, and all of these kind of things. But then the second part of it is that it's in the zodiacal sign Virgo. Behold, the Lord shall give a sign, a virgin shall conceive. So we track a very, very interesting galaxy in this constellation Coma. More interesting, Joni Schultz downloaded this off the computer. We have a picture of it. Could this be the location of the place from whence all of this intelligence is coming, from whence all of this instruction is coming, from whence those who are related to you live? I mean, could you be looking at a picture of this? I say, well, maybe it means something else. Well, maybe it does. But if it means 4555 is the galaxy and the location of the place that you call God, it is much, much too significant to turn your back on it and say, well, I'm not going to bother thinking about this. Because it's real.
You'll discover something quite fascinating about Samael. If you take a look at Sama, it originates from the ancient Zulu language meaning current. So Sama refers to a current, and naturally dealing with the current involves resistance. An electrical current flows through the brain, opening up pathways. Samael is associated with the character often portrayed as the devil or Satan in religious contexts.
The devil or Satan in the context of reality cannot exist until something happens. If I decide I'm going to think about robbing a bank, and I think about robbing the bank, and I drive down and I look at the bank, there's no evil has occurred at all, has it? No money has gone out of the bank. Nobody's robbed the bank. I just thought about it. If I rob the bank, the devil has occurred. So thoughts then in and of themselves. Now that's the reason. While in the Adam and Eve story, the two nudists who are talking to the snake actually is a symbol of the spine. Eve is the mind, and Adam represents the physical part. And so what happens? When Eve eats the fruit, there's no problem, is there? No problem. Nothing wrong. Because it's just a thought. There's no devil. But when Adam eats it, all hell breaks loose, right? Because now the deed has been acted out. What I'm trying to show you is that in essence, what you have is a neutral energy inside of you called current, electrical current. The current feeds the circuit, which is the brain. The problem with it is you've never been instructed to the fact that the circuits of your brain must have resistance.
Electricity is ubiquitous and plays a fundamental role in the human body. Our cells are uniquely equipped to conduct electrical currents, facilitating various physiological processes. In particular, electricity is vital for the nervous system's functioning, enabling the transmission of signals throughout the body and to the brain. This intricate network of electrical impulses allows us to perform essential functions such as movement, cognition, and emotion. You may not have realized this, but just like with electrical appliances, if the current flows unchecked into your brain without any resistance, it can lead to problems. Just as appliances can blow up, explode, and burn out, similar things can happen to us. We may feel overwhelmed, overheated, and burned out. These issues arise when we fail to understand that our brains need resistance to function correctly. So it's neither about resistance nor concepts like the devil. Instead, it's about what happens when the current flows into the brain's circuit and encounters resistance. Resistance is Om.
The University of Massachusetts Medical Center, Dr. Ann Massion's psychiatry department, and she says that the reason that you should meditate is because meditation is a more effective method of melatonin production. You do not produce melatonin until you're in a pitch black room, because the pineal gland doesn't open until it's in a pitch black room. And here's the University of Western Ontario finding increases in melatonin after a single meditation session. So what do you need melatonin for, you say? You'll see, for instance, that the pineal gland regulates the circadian rhythm of your body, the time clock of your body. Melatonin has been shown to inhibit the growth and metastasis of tumors in experimental animals. Patients who have breast cancer have lower levels of melatonin in their blood. It has a stimulatory effect on the immune system. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you ever tried to stimulate the activity of melatonin, the pineal gland of your brain? Probably you've never. Some of you have never, ever done it because you hadn't a clue.
Environmental stress can impact the pineal gland and its functions, affecting the body's alertness. On page 49, the discussion revolves around multiple sclerosis and its origins. According to research from the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, since melatonin secretion follows cyclical patterns, including daily, weekly, seasonal, and annual variations, it suggested that the pineal gland may play a significant role in the spontaneous exacerbations and remissions of multiple sclerosis. This reveals a deeper understanding of how the body operates. Melatonin is also identified as a potential anti-aging hormone, as mentioned on page 50. The immune system, as discussed by the Department of Medical Biochemistry and Molecular Body at the University of Spain, is shown to be intertwined with the pineal gland. Furthermore, research indicates a link between Parkinson's disease and melatonin. Many studies have shown that melatonin can improve the subjective sleep quality of Parkinson's disease. In 2016, exogenous melatonin for sleep disorders in neurodegenerative diseases, a meta-analysis of randomized clinical trials showed that melatonin could improve subjective sleep quality in neurodegenerative disorder patients. Therefore, it's important to recognize the impact of melatonin and the pineal gland on diseases, especially when individuals close to you are suffering, as their understanding of these connections may influence their treatment decisions.
And so now we go through this point. We've reached all the way from the point of the temple. We reach up to the point of the crucifixion. We reach up to the point of the resurrection. And we reach to the point where here Jesus, at the point of the resurrection, says, wait for me in Galilee. And we look up the word Galilee, and we find in the stuff that we have here that the word Galilee means circuit. What's being said? That the energy that has resurrected within you as a result of your meditation is now moving through the circuit of your brain.
Page 56 states, right about halfway down before you go into Golova, there shall you see him. What is significant about Golova? Golova means circuit. Our brain functions as an electrical circuit, and it is in this circuit that we encounter divine presence. As stated in the book of Daniel, chapter 5, verse 5, found on page 728, a hand descended with an attached arm, inscribing a message. In the 6th century BCE, while a king held the Jews captive in the foreign land of Babylon, a mysterious hand appeared, writing on the palace wall. Seeking interpretation, the king summoned Daniel. Daniel's analysis revealed that God intended the king and his kingdom to decline.
And the hand, according to the book of Daniel, Daniel chapter 5, verse 5, wrote by the candlestick at the plaster. And the candlestick is your spine. And remember, we looked up the word plaster. Plaster is made up of lime. And remember, in looking up and understanding the pineal gland of the brain is made of lime. And so we have here at the point of the spine, at the pineal gland, this hand wrote on the wall. And it wrote this word, mene.
When discussing the brain circuits and linking the brain to a computer, it's pertinent to mention the concept of gates. Like in a computer where circuits are controlled and organized through gates, the brain operates through similar mechanisms. These metaphorical gates play a crucial role in regulating the flow of information and electrical impulses within the brain's intricate circuitry. A neural circuit is a population of neurons interconnected by synapses to carry out a specific function when activated. Multiple neural circuits interconnect with one another to form large-scale brain networks. Neural circuits have inspired the design of artificial neural networks, though there are significant differences.
Your brain has 12 gates. Why does it have 12 gates? Because there's 12 signs of the zodiac. There's 12 constellations in the ecliptic. It's all set for you. There you have. It's just absolutely amazing to me. People have the most significant computer, the thing that can take them to the universe and beyond, and they never even tried to turn it on. Never even bothered with it because they've never paid attention to all of the instruction manuals. And so when you look at a computer and you know about the gates in the computer, and then you say, who is the most powerful man in computers in the world? And what's his name? Gates. Then if I go to Atlantic City, all the gambling mecca of the East Coast, and who's the most powerful man? Trump.
It's intriguing to consider what has been said for millennia about the flow of energy through the resistors of the spine to the brain. For thousands of years, Buddhist practitioners have sat in temples across the Himalayas and other regions, channeling this energy through the resistors while chanting Om. They ensured this energy was not necessarily interrupted, dissipated, or fragmented while using the flow and momentum of the second chakra to fire up the will. They understood that energy directed towards something not manifesting is hung up, caught, or otherwise useless. If, after reasonable effort, something is not working, let it go. The energy you feel when the attachment no longer controls you can be exhilarating. The more you release, the less friction there is on your energy. The lighter you become, the more you move towards spirit and away from matter.
This is a Hebrew word, and gematria in Hebrew and Greek works both ways. M has a value of 40, E has a value of 5, and N has a value of 50. And it's 45, 55 if you just speak it.
It's noted that certain verses in the Bible contain words written down without translation. However, when translated, they retain their original form. An exciting pattern also emerges in geometry when combining numbers, often sum up to 100, simplifying to 1. This pattern is frequently observed, particularly in measurements involving the cubit, where a dot symbolizes 1 unit. To express quantities less than 1, we use the decimal notation. We put a dot, and it is understood that the number to the immediate left of the dot is the number of ones, that to the immediate right is the number of tenths, the next number is the number of hundredths, and so on. The ancient Greek symbol of theta, evolving over time, also holds significance. Theta is a term used in neuroscience to refer to a specific frequency range of brain waves. Brain waves are rhythmical electrical impulses generated by the brain's activity. Theta waves are typically observed in deep relaxation, meditation, and light sleep states. They are associated with creativity, intuition, and deep subconscious processing. Theta waves have a frequency range of approximately 4 to 8 cycles per second, or hertz, and are often present during meditation, visualization, and hypnosis. Now, how does this relate to the brain? Pythagoras, a Greek philosopher and mathematician who utilized this symbol in geometry, made a remarkable discovery. When assigning a circumference measurement of 1000, the diameter calculates to 318.
Now in Greek, the word theta, when you give the values again from gematria, 9, 8, 301 is 318, which is the diameter of a circle. There's an old saying in Hermetic saying, God is a sphere whose whole circumference is nowhere, but whose center is everywhere. Kind of ties into quantum a little bit if you ever get into that. The other thing is, this was related to the sun. This is the symbol of Ra, the sun god. And the Greek word for sun is helios, which in Greek is written H, lambda, I, O, sigma. And the values are 8, 30, 10, 70, 200 equals 318.
Angel numbers are divine messages believed to be sent from the spiritual realm. If you've noticed that a particular number sequence appears around you repeatedly, you might be experiencing an angel number phenomenon. These are sequences of numbers believed to hold a special meaning and significance. The significance of the number 318 lies in its connection to theta. When exploring its relevance, I found that within theta, one can add numbers like zeros while retaining their essence. Theta waves generate the theta rhythm, a neural oscillation in the brain that underlies various aspects of cognition and behavior, including learning, memory, and spatial navigation in many animals. Theta waves associated with the 8th letter of the Greek alphabet resonate at a frequency of 4 cycles per second. Interestingly, this frequency can be viewed as 3 within 1, corresponding to 4 to 8 hertz. Theta waves typically oscillate between 13 to 30 cycles, while alpha rhythms fall within the 8 to 13 cycles range.
Sama, which equates by the ancient people to the devil, which means current. And you look at that word, it says impedance, electricity, the measure of the degree to which an electric circuit resists electric current flow, expressed in ohms.
This revelation is pivotal in our research as it sheds light on how our brain functions, what it demands, and how its circuits operate. Understanding how to manage the surging current within these circuits is crucial. The circuit's ability to resist this current is expressed through the ancient chant of Om. It's essential to grasp that every event in our lives results from electrical impulses flowing through the brain's circuits. The concept of the devil or Satan is merely symbolic of an electric current that the brain's circuitry must resist. When this resistance fails, overload occurs, leading to burnout. The burnout The experience manifests as stress, breakdowns, diseases, strokes, and various other health issues, all stemming from the absence of resistance to the current flowing into our brains.
All of this is scientific documentation. Matthew 28:2, there was a stone. The electromagnetic field rolls the stone away from the fornix. The angle causes the arc in the brain receptors. In Egypt, the pyramid was open to an angle of Orion, the gate of God, the OR gate, which is a computer logic circuit. And then it defines a logic circuit, a computer switching circuit that performs problem-solving functions. What problem do you have? You say, well, geez, where do I start? I get all kinds of problems. And you find, why can't I solve these problems? Because the switch isn't opening. The switch isn't functioning. Wonder if you have in the circuit of it, say you've got this big family problem. What am I going to do? What am I going to do with the kid? What am I going to do with my husband? What am I going to do with my wife? And here's the switch. Now, in order for you, here's the understanding. This will bail you out of the problem. This will bring the money that you need. But there's a switch that's closed. Okay? And that in order for you to understand, the switch has got to be open. The right amount of current is not coming into the brain to open the switch. And so you're never going to be able to figure this out. And the reason is there's no resistance. The circuit is operating on overload. It's not working properly. Do you have any idea that in the middle of a computer, in the point of memory, is a thing called RAM? Do you know that? In the middle of your brain is a thing called Ammon's horn. Is the name of an Egyptian deity whose symbol is the ram. In the middle of a computer is a structure called RAM. And they are both in the part of the brain responsible for memory. And so what do? Are you working on it? You go to church. This whole world is subject to what's coming out of your head. And that's what Buddha said thousands of years ago. He said the reason that you have this total upheaval in the atmosphere and in the environment is because of all the negative vibrations coming out of the brains of billions and billions of people all over the place. If you can create bad vibes in your house, and you can, what do you think happens when we got billions of people on the planet Earth with there's nothing more than a pimple on the rear end of the Milky Way? Billions of people having bad vibes. What's happened? The Earth is puking. Everybody's freaking out. Why? Because everybody's brain is on overload. Nobody knows. I've got a quote from the encyclopedia right in the middle there. And it says the brain works somewhat like both a computer and a chemical factory. Brain cells produce electrical signals and send them from cell to cell along pathways called circuits. So then Samael is the current that must be resisted by the circuit. And what does it say in James chapter 4 and verse 7? It says, resist the devil and he'll flee. What are they doing? You know what they say? Devil, I rebuke you. All right, this is what I want you to do. Sit in front of your computer. Let's go sit in front of this electric light. I rebuke you. And the light's going to say, I rebuke you too. And it's going to, and if it's time to burn out, it burns out. And when it burns out, you stand here, I lay hands on this thing in the name of Jesus. So what? It's not going to go on anyhow until you put a bulb into it. You got to screw it in. No matter what you do, you got to screw the bulb. So the point being, you cannot treat your brain any differently than you treat an electrical appliance. It has to have proper current, proper voltage, proper resistance. The circuits have to operate properly. Let's look one more time so we understand it. Can you feel on top of your shoulders? Is there a round thing up on top of here? That's a head. Inside of the head is a brain. That brain is a computer. As you've seen here, that brain is electrical circuitry. If your brain is electrical circuitry, if that circuitry is operated by current, then it must have resistance. It's the same as any other computer, and so you have to treat it exactly the same. You have to understand the circuits, you have to understand the current, and you have to understand the resistance. It is no different than that. In something such as a computer, you can only have so much current going in, or you're going to burn it out. If you have too much, you burn the circuit. You've heard of people burning out too much. Then you read about resistance. So how do you do this? That's the instructions. Yoga. See what the word means? What's it mean? Yoke, doesn't it? All right? Now open the Bible to page 787. Matthew chapter 11, verse 29. And what does Jesus say? Take my yoke, take my yoga upon you and learn of me.
for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, my burden is light. My yoga, take my yoga. How do I take your yoga? Practice the single eye. Take no thought. Seek within yourself for the kingdom. Take my yoga upon you, and you shall find rest for your soul. Something that most people have never found the whole time they've been alive. You'll find rest for your soul. It's meditation. It fixes the mind on the object of knowledge. Profound contemplation. And what is profound contemplation? Who is the one that you must resist? Samael. He is the one that will resist you. And so then what is profound contemplation? What is profound meditation? Samadhi. The perfect absorption of thought in the object, its union and identification. So it is samadhi which overcomes Samael. It is the key. It is the symbol of 8. It is the zogio. It is 4555. Helena Blavatsky put it this way: fantasy. And you know what each one of us has taken instead of understanding this? We've taken fantasy. We've lived a fantasy. When you go to church, it's like going to Disneyland. There's somebody playing an organ. And there people get up with robes on, and they have lights, and they have candles, and all of these things. And it's nice. And there's not, it's really pretty, especially on Christmas Eve, And all of these things are nice, but they don't change the circuitry of your brain. They don't change the current of your brain. They don't apply the resistance to the current, which is burning you up. They don't do that. And so Blavatsky put it this way: fantasy is an impediment to our intellectual conceptions. And when we are agitated by the inspiring influences of divinity, if the fantasy intervenes, the enthusiastic energy ceases. For enthusiasm and fantasy are contrary to each other. It's something seen, but no physical reality. It's religion. It's emotionalism. It's feeling. It's the things that so many people seek for. That's the very thing that will oppose our union with God. The creative, unrestrained fancy. Something that's such an invention that it is a creation of fantasy. Fiction characterized by a highly fanciful or supernatural element. Fiction. And our whole life has been consumed in the fiction of religion. And because of the fiction of religion, we have missed the reality that we are real entities with a real functioning computer that we have totally neglected because we have plugged ourselves into this circus that they call religion and traditional.
Gratitude is a powerful tool that can bring you back into alignment when you feel frustrated or down.
That's all I got, Mike. You there? Mike. Hey, Mike. All right. Let me know when you come back. Did y'all see the hairy eggs? Is this the hairy eggs video? I think this is it.
Hello, Deans. Does your man suffer from hairy eggs? Does it affect your love life? Well, here's a solution. You can go from hairy to non-dairy in a matter of minutes. If you act now, we will draw on a 12-pack carton. Call the toll-free number 1-800-HAIRY-EGGS. That's 1-800-HAIRY-EGGS. But wait, Act now, we have a special offer. If you order in the next 10 minutes, you can get an additional 5-blade razor for free.
1-800-HAIRY-EGGS. Goodness gracious.
That's it. That's all I got, Mike, other than the world is a stage. On the left is Pfizer's head of vaccine research, Katherine Jansen, and on the right is former CNN anchor Chris Wallace.
Right on. All right. Well, I got a couple things to share and add to it right quick, and then we'll get into the trust stuff. So watched I don't know how long that presentation was with about the electricity of your brain, right? Chief Pontiac shared these a while ago. And I think they're good listens because they're short. We won't listen to all of Sabrina's. I don't know how long hers is, but here we go. This is adding to it. All right.
IEEE, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers.
He said, look up IEEE, Institute of Electronics, Electricals and Engineers. All right.
Down 802.15.6. You know what that number is? That's the network code. That's y'all code that they tap into. 802.154, 802.155, and 802.156. They adhere to you using smart dust, chemtrails. Any of y'all got cars? It's a clear day. You look at your windshield. You're like, what's all this stuff on my windshield? It won't come off. They adhere to you using smart dust and proceed to molecules, conjuring a wireless sensor network. Networks of spatially dispersed and dedicated sensors are formed, and in a surprising twist, the towers aren't managing the networks. Your DNA is. Thanks to the enigmatic power of optogenetics. Look at the diagram. Look up IEEE, Institute of Electrical.
All right, so that's a lead into it on TikTok. You just heard him tell you, the before the chemtrails got chemtrails, which we shared with you way back when, early last year, about the chemtrails, okay, being clean. Chief Pontiac recently did a thing on it as well. So did a couple others. I quit worrying about the chemtrails, but you need to continue to worry about the Wi-Fi, okay? Sabrina, which I think today, May the 11th, was her birthday. So happy belated birthday to Sabrina Wallace. Did this 15-minute presentation right here where she talks about the chakra system and the telemetry that lets shoot a signal into you. Okay, we're gonna get into that right now. All right, don't let this scare you. All right, we can beat this. Remember, melatonin and meditation, all of it is a part of this. Okay, get control of your DNA and the climate within. All right. That's by going within and knowing who you are, dealing with your ego, growing and learning knowledge and application of that knowledge. Blue snow equals clean trails, right? All right, here's Sabrina right here on 15 minutes.
So the oldest human telemetry system on the planet still works. When it comes to energy work, healing touch, and all the things, all of the electromagnetic healing therapies that they lied about, this one right here, acupuncture and acupressure, was the main one that even when they lied, people noticed a physical change. Therefore, it was a lot harder to lie about it. Well, that's because the Chinese meridians, as they call them, that's your arteries. Now, if I have to make a kinetic change in your bloodstream, I need somewhere where there's actual catalytic motion. That's your bloodstream. So the oldest telemetry on the planet, holding it right here in my hand, Chinese medicine. Yeah, it's right behind me on the wall. It's your chakra system, right there. Now, that system is the telemetry that lets them shoot a signal into you. And we have a new warfare. It's called electromagnetic drone, D-R-O-N-E warfare. Nobody told wireless body part because the man that would have, his name was Barnaby Jack. He's known in the hacking community as the Jackpotter. He put an ATM on a Las Vegas stage and made it spit money. No one believed that was possible. His next feat in Las Vegas DEF CON in 2013 would have been to explain to people that the human body was more hackable than a car, even back then with a lack of software. And he died from opiates in his bed the morning before he was set to tell anybody. What happened to all those discussions of pacemakers and the problems? Well, see, Barnaby Jack in 2013 was unlike Dr. Carrie Majay. Her job, when she was offered the same thing as a piezoelectricity bone doctor, knowledgeable in the new electromagnetic powering of 6G low-pan for the smart grid. Jack would have never played ball with Baal's balls and said, yeah, let's hook everybody up without their knowledge. Because that's what they fucking did. They didn't ask you. They know that you're wireless and you don't. So they connected everything to what? That's wow, that this connects to. So when I tell you there's an app for you right now, it gets worse. Last year, Amazon made mesh networking available to everything. All we needed for deliveries. But in the same time period, the Artificial Intelligence Symposium of the Department of Defense was over here on page 1. Autonomous weapons statement. Lethal autonomous weapons. What? Yeah, drones that can kill you. They got a quarter-size CMOS chip on them. It's preloaded. That's so a striker unit cannot use its security to throw up a computer network and steal the codes and prevent a kill. So the same men who want results and work in our military are the same men who sold us out, lied to everybody for years, decades, a very long time, and used something called wireless sensor networks. So the fundamental problem that we really have, before I get into helping people understand, because this is about technology. We are just holding up a book. Okay, you need to do the thinking on your own now and stop making me work so fucking hard that I've got to go get a whiteboard to help you understand that you've been wired to the cloud, and they created an engineering interface, meaning that they took the chakras, okay, and they wired them. All these chakras are wired to these little stars on the body that I post here, and they're called nodes. So they're a little N. Then they have to get a different color so you can understand that over top of your heart is something called a radio frequency sink. And what that does is it collects signals and makes them stronger. So there's one in your pelvis, military idiots, and one in the front over your heart. But hey, military morons, Sabrina, this is why no one listens. Because I am not going to step off these people that have enslaved us in such a way that once I do finally get the good, you mean like, wait a minute, like, can I try to understand you, crazy woman, because you won't shut up? Yeah, I'm not shutting up. It's not going to happen. This is worse than Egypt. You want to spray a nanopolymer on a polygon and have it grab up my skin, or try to. That's one thing. But this is totally different. But you're so upset. You're going to be way more pissed than me. Trust me. I know how to use my body part. I can hear things coming. I do it all the time and teach people how to use their body part. You don't even know you have one yet. So here's some magnets. I would never make these, put super glue on them and put them on my fingernails. Why? Well, because then if I use Gorilla Glue to do that, it's going to tear my nail off. Duh. So I make teeny tiny little electromagnetic fields back in 2005. 2005, we have 802.15.4. Okay? That is the IEEE standard for routing data through human. Gosh, it looks exactly like that, doesn't it? Look at the little symbols. Yeah. Math going back and forth. Signals between human brains. You mean human biofields, the electromagnetic fields of humans? To do what? To watch their empathy, telepathy, precognition, and telekinetics, because we wirelessly tissue engineer to make sure that none of that's happening for you. That belongs to the military, too. Show me your invisible body part, please. I don't want to be standing here while you're thinking that, I'm just making shit up. And besides that, yeah, January 30th, 1994. Push your hair follicles down, take in a deep breath. I'm a free-range human, permanently disabled by the stupid government. And I would love for them to stay, but there's no getting around this. Nothing is going to help us interdimensionally until we deal with this problem we've made for ourselves. And no one is saying biofield. It's not in the technical writing. Now, dude, less than 100 people on the planet, no. That's a tiny number. Right. So those are the people reading into the depths of binomial algorithm technical writing. Hi. Because of what's happening to me and how deeply hidden this surveillance is, down to your bone marrow, using nano satellite. Show me your biofield, and then we're going to talk about BAE systems, and we're going right back over here to 802.15.4. Deep breath in. Pardon me. Okay, so if I have two magnets and I am unable to pull them apart, what do? The magnetic field is too strong between these two magnets. I would never super glue them to my fingers because I would never install magnets onto my fingernails, especially if I had no way to pull them apart. Okay? So here's what the brilliant military morons have done. They took the human body part known as the biofield that no one believes in and they don't know it exists, and they don't allow the doctors at regular hospitals to talk about it. They only use it on the back end with their MRI and CT. Then they use special software with a dude named a radiologist who reads that molecular composition the way he is told or taught looking at, because he's not taught what to look for. So we have an invisible body part with a bunch of software and people who do what they're told, which is what? IEEE Engineering Standards 802.15.4. What does that do? Well, it puts permanent biosensors into your biofield since 2005. And that's the part of things I'm trying to get people to understand, because last I checked, that'll be 20 years ago, 3 years from now. That's also when they've got geoengineering finished up. Silver twits believe the world's going to end and that we don't have databases that control the weather that you can read about in the Library of Congress. No, you keep letting them think it's a conspiracy theorist problem. It's a congressional issue. And when you let NASA tell people in 2018 or 19, whichever it was, that they couldn't find the tapes to go back to the moon on the YouTube, and they're still showing us pictures, Adobe Photoshop, of deep space. And here's why. Remember what I just said about BAE systems? This all goes together. BAE Systems is a company. B is in boy, A is in apple, E is in elephant. You can find it on my Facebook or look it up. They used to have, since the 1950s, only 50 employees. Excuse me, less than 500 employees. That's what it is. That's a security protocol. Now they have 60,500 employees for the first time since the 50s. The same time that Amazing Polly mentioned, it's been an open secret. What has? Crimson Tide? Spraying people with frequencies and doing what you're going to do? Well, that's what Mel did in 1953. No, Sabrina, no. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Breathing in the different types of organisms. So all of this surveillance and screwing with you is built off of genetic modification. I warned you. I said wireless tissue engineering. Now Bielik and his map are back out there again. I warned you. I said in 2002, AT&T, the different clouds they're going to put up. And what does it say here on the bottom? Children of light grid, nodes, airlines, people and humans, intent casting, frequency grids. Oh, but I'm just a stupid energy worker using my free-range human body part away from them. So they had to send physical people to come fuck up my life because I was using my own body part by myself. What a crime. Ask anybody who's ever been that fake thing called a targeted individual, like that fake thing called the Havana syndrome. Let me show you what else is fake before I get back to the BAE systems stuff. Because I've been trying to make science to help people understand, because they really don't. They're so far away from reality of like how our systems, businesses, taxes, all of it, how it all functions. So fake pain is fibromyalgia, then it's fake pseudotumors, then it's fake lupus, then it's fake cancer, and now it's fake adult syndrome and fake stroke. All right, that's not possible. Just like it's not possible that nobody knew they were lying on the MRI and the CT all this time. No, they knew they were lying. That's why BAE Systems is a satellite company, one of the biggest that supports everything that we have militarily at the Space Force level. Yeah, that's BAE Systems. Less than 500 employees until when? From 1950 until last year. Absorbed a company of 60,000 employees. What was their job and purpose? Well, they've spent the last 5 or 6 years usurping all the topology of every service of every country's military. Of every country's military on the planet, yes. And now BAE Systems owns them. So every single country on the planet had their military, meaning that they gave all their secret locale to this company who now watches it. So then you say, okay, well then it must be surveillance. Right, and it's using your biofield. So we have something called wireless sensor networks. And we use those teeny tiny sensors. And the problem is with the Twitter twits and the rest, it's always the same. Well, we only do it for good. That's not how tools work. And this is engineering. So I'd like you to grow up a bit, clean up your mind and your maturity. Thank you. Okay, so then we go back up here in 2005. We're routing computer data through human tissue. That's going to make you swell because your body's going to overheat because it's using your red blood cells for some blood cells are simply not made for. Okay, so what they did is they started using routing protocols and writing them like cicada. And I'm going to have to refresh my memory on some of the other ones. But in order to do any of what I'm telling you, they had to have permanent little magnetic fields that they could get back and forth to with a guarantee, meaning that you could change out your local hub, router, whatever it was physically in your house. It doesn't matter. These are still in you. Permanent lifetime biosensors, permanent magnets fixed inside of you right now because it's a body part. Now, if you can't feel that body part, well, then you don't know, no harm, no foul, until someone else taps into these. Now, all of a sudden, you're having all sorts of symptoms and problems of what? I'll tell you what, it isn't going to be subtle. Nope. Not with what they've got going on, which is what? Routing digital IDs. I got to get through a geofence with my ass. This is my fucking body. And the new electromagnetic warfare is generated how again? Electromagnetically. Okay, but I'm not electromagnetic. Yeah, actually 80% of your body is water and 80% of your immune system is in your biofield and 40 to 60% of your emotions, your endocrine system, your hormones. Yeah, then there's the gut-brain axis. Oh, yeah, we just figured it out. No, they hid it for 150 years to offer you electroceuticals, the metaverse, the Internet of Things. So one more time. In order to offer you all all of those things, they have to have a way to check their data, a parity check back and forth. Those are the permanent magnets fixed in your invisible body part. Permanent magnets fixed permanently. Lifetime biosensor, 802.15.4. Lifetime, permanently fixed inside your invisible body part, and you have no access. None. Now, if I want to spoof the digital ID and move back and forth between people, or excuse me, between geofences and do it without dying, I need a way to hack that digital ID in my own body. Oh, but we're not in the human tissue. Yes, we are. I just showed you 802.15.4. And then it's up to you to click on the link here on my Odyssey and go read for yourself. This is engineering. They tested it on childrensynergy.com. That's me. Hi. That's how I know. And they had 2 control groups, probably more, but I was of the group that wasn't wired because I had a seraphim come and rescue me when I was little. Okay. So, again, I'm not crazy. I'm sorry. I really am. If I were crazy, life would be a lot easier.
All right. There you have that. Okay. And then you got this from B-Dale. Folks, the truth is coming out. The knowledge is very applicable. All we have to do is apply it. Remember, melatonin is the key to increasing your leverage of your own biofield, right? Let me get down here where B shells. Peace. Right here.
In tonight's transmission, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about how the corporation is transforming into a crypto technocratic control system that's based on globalism, and how the plutocracy is going to perpetuate international collaboration by way of economics and the geopolitical economic reset. Now, everything I'm going to be telling you guys tonight is going theoretical or mythological composition. It is based in fact by way of historical timelines that's connected to a seculum of a cycle. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, get those notes out, because this is going to be the basis of this synopsis is going to be breaking down the metaphysics of the 80-year theory and how it coincides with the timeline of eschatology, which is the science of the end times for those who don't know that. Now, the 80-year theory is connected to a seculum of a cycle, meaning that there's a fourth turning that's the biological clock of humans on the planet, which is a lifespan of 80 years. After every 80 years, there's a crisis that ensues, global turning point. And that turning point is activated by way of a reset, by way of a high, an awakening, unraveling. Then you have a crisis. So we're due for a big time cataclysmic event. We don't know if it's going to be the big one. We don't know if it's going to be a electromagnetic post-efficiency. We don't know if it's going to be 10 days of darkness, World War III, or Civil War. In tonight's transmission, ladies and
all right. So it definitely won't be a civil war. I mean, we've talked about that in the past. Sheepdog, it can tell you that it's etched in his mind. There's nothing civil about war, right? So, and you can see in the top of his presentation, he has a thumbnail with Trump, you know, the Messiah, the King, all of it. The same things we've been telling you all along. And so on and so forth. And
we're going to be talking about how
if you go to his TikTok, you can get the YouTube link to the full video where he talks about this. Okay. The gist of it is folks, the technocracy thinks they have won, right? They haven't. We're gonna take the knowledge and make it applicable. Look at this diagram right here. Same thing Mr. Donahue was showing in his stuff, right? In that video that that Sheepdog played a while ago. All right. So I wanted everybody to be aware of that. Okay. While we started the show very strong in the fact that the commercial dishonor has been exposed in Texas and Texas is rising. and they will do well. Okay, they will do well, and there'll be many states with the people, decentralized government. In other words, like described in the filings, um, the kingdom has fallen, right? The seven kingdoms and fell, right? Or um, the the absolute best thing to know is that we are stronger than we know. We have more um, freedom to gain and more prosperity in that freedom, not necessarily financially. Okay. Although that we understand there's going to be a reset, right? There's going to be a couple of resets. Um, and they're going to go out with their resets. That Black BDL was talking about a while ago. That's the end times for them. Um, it's being played out. We're almost there. We have gained enough knowledge to benefit from the reset, the synthetic reset, the technocratic reset, right? Um, Known as the quantum financial system, yada yada yada, bunch of regurgitated crap. We're going to benefit if we're smart, right? And we are. We're way smarter than we give ourselves credit for sometimes. Yep, pour water on the wicked witch and watch her fall, right? Woohoo, right? Man behind the curtain has been exposed, right? um, the uh, the time is now. Okay, we're we are absolutely the day the kingdom fell. Talked a lot about carrying ourselves in honor, in both in commercial honor and spiritual honor, right? Natural law, common law. Okay, and it is a matter of law. The spiritual law, the spiritual honor being first and foremost. um, so trust are becoming an important thing, not just for the rich, but for everybody that wants to operate in the private without the liability that the administrative state that is going away has placed on the commercial world, right? We don't need the things of the commercial world, but we have to work through getting back to our roots. So it's going to be around. It's not going anywhere. We're going to have commerce. Small businesses are about to start rising. Why? Because we know for a fact that the corporation is dead. These monopolies that have been running around um, with their overreach through lobbyists and fraudulent billing, Ponzi schemes, making us debtors instead of creditors, so on and so forth, is that their day is over. No more commercial dishonor is allowed. We're done. We are absolutely done. And someone said about Sabrina's give a damn is busted. So is mine. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn who it is or what they think about it. We're done. It's time for you to get the effing out. we're not living in fantasy land, trust the plan bullshit anymore. The plan is we get off our ass, we gain the knowledge, and we use it with application. Thank you, Sheepdog. So that leads me to some updates that we have with the trust, okay? The last few weeks, maybe a couple months actually, has been about them getting us to recontract, okay? Through trickery, and it hasn't worked. It may seem like it's worked because a lot of people got it, all right, with the real ID and so on and so forth. A lot of people are still paying taxes, but a lot more people have stopped paying taxes, and a lot more are stopping every day. A lot more people are waking up. The faster we apply the knowledge that we gain through the awakening, the faster more people wake up. And for the first time since my knowledge, which started about 10 years ago, August will be 10 years. We've learned and grown a lot, and that there's actually enough of us to get on top and not rule over anybody, but rule with good people, side by side, heart to heart, eyeball to eyeball, kneecap to kneecap. When I said civil war, there's nothing civil about war, right? Sheepdog said, the man told him that civil war was nothing more than two men that got together and had a conversation, right? Oh. So stand with the people. Decentralized government, decentralized economics, decentralized commerce, deregulatory energy, decentralized energy. All of it's going to start happening. If you haven't already started grabbing a hold of it where you can, picking and choosing your battles accordingly. Right on, Civil Roar. There you go. Cheating. Picking and choosing your battles. Being strategic in your own growth and freedom. And the application of knowledge. Truth. We're not all going to agree on everything, but we are all going to prosper. We are all going to be free. All good people will prevail. It's going to be work. It's not going to be easy. There are contingency plans to be rolled out when the shelves start showing up empty to make sure everybody has food. It's going to come out and sound a little weird at first because the narrative, the propaganda has been so strong about this one particular group and this one foundation that's going to be used in the community to help facilitate that and much more. Just fair warning, folks, that we're getting to hear more things we thought we would never hear, right? Someone asked if there was going to be justice for the wrongdoers, the evildoers. If there hasn't already been, there sure will be. It's inescapable. Every energy always returns to source. That's the God within. Take your God seat and let's enjoy our victory. Be wise about our days to come. Live in the now. Keep strengthening discernment. So on and so forth. So we got some updates about the trust, okay? And as soon as I can get my Word document open. Let's see here. All right. All right. So I'm going to show everybody this first, okay? And then we'll go over the all right. All right. So over at the truthseekers88.com is the categories, okay? These are videos that I've started watching on the platform, and I haven't completed them, so they went into the continue watching program. It's a courtesy that the .com has for everybody. If you left off with an incomplete viewing of one of the videos that were here, you can see the live video is up here right now, so it's under continue watching. All right. It's also listed right here. Now this one will be listed here until tomorrow for you to come and watch it from here. But after tomorrow, the next one will be there, or actually Sunday. So it'll be here until Sunday. It then goes into our shows category, which you can see the live is being recorded. Tonight's live is being recorded in our shows. That will be published, and once a new live is set and starts, it'll take its place here in the featured category. The divine salvation of humanity is our trust class, folks. Okay. See all. Click see all, right? There's some beginner first class, right? Our first class, which was 213.25. All right. Our second class, and then we had Q&As in between, right? I got a couple thumbnails I still need to fix there, but the updates we're going to talk about is if you haven't reviewed the classes or you have. All right. One of the biggest updates is the banking. All right, let me get this set so y'all can read it. All right, so one of the biggest updates is with the banking. All right, so a lot of people are they've had problems with the once they've opened the bank for their trust, non-interest bearing, yada yada yada, the bank is calling back and saying, hey, we can't no longer honor this account. Okay. When that's the case, you go to an existing account. Okay. All right. Doesn't matter about it being non-interest bearing or not. All right. You go to an existing account, you go to the bank, and you ask to update your signature card. All right. In that update of the signature card, thank God for spell check, right? You want to include your EIN number and the trust as the beneficiary at the bank. Okay, not in your trust, but at the bank. And I for some reason can never spell beneficiary. at bank only. Okay. Yeah, it would be your autograph, right? Autograph card. Exactly, Truth. All right. So on your autograph card, you will include your EIN number, and you will list the trust as the beneficiary at the bank only. All right. You will also update your autograph to include TTEE. Some banks may refuse you the right to do that because they don't want to recognize you as a trustee. Okay. Ask them if they do refuse you the right to do that, then that TTEE goes at the end of your signature, your autograph. All right. What's the EIN number? You need to take the class. Okay. All right. So they may refuse. Ask them to politely ask them, where does it say I can't do that in the bylaws of your bank? Okay. They cannot show you that. So therefore they have to comply. It's happened several times. Whenever you call them out on it politely and they can't show you that you can't do that in writing, then guess what? You get to do that. They will let it pass. All right. All right, but just make sure that you update the autograph card, or what the bank will call your signature card for your existing account. Should you not be able to go through with the trust account and the EIN number and so on and so forth. So you update to include the TTEE. And then your bank, you have a bank account for your trust. Okay. So the state of the credit unions are the ones kicking the trust accounts out more than any other bank, from what we've gathered from boots on the ground. I know I had to question my credit union several times, and again, myself and others have asked them to show us where it says we can't do such what they stated, and they cannot do that because it doesn't exist. So therefore, they had to let us. Okay, they'll say our lawyers won't allow that. Well, show me in writing where your rules say I can't do that, and then we'll talk about that. But until you do, I'm going to do it. Okay. Remember, you are in charge. You are a customer. You are a client. They are to provide the service. All right. Adriana, please take the trust class. Okay. If you haven't taken the trust class, you wouldn't know what an EIN is and a TTE, at the end of your autograph would be. Yes, you have to have a trust to do this. Absolutely. All right. We're not going to do a Q&A tonight. I'll do a Q&A this weekend in the Telegram chat, which I'll show you all that here in a few minutes. All right. But you need to update it to include TTE. All right. So that's the updates for the bank accounts. Okay. The other updates are birth certificates. You no longer need to have you no longer need to have them apostilled. or authenticated by the state and federal State Department. Okay, you just need a certified copy. Okay. All right, so you need a certified copy, long form preferably. All right. So, sending your birth certificates off after you get them a copy of the certified birth certificate. You no longer have to have them apostilled or authenticated by the state and federal State Departments. Okay. They simply we're gonna show you in the next class how to do a quick claim deed on your birth certificate. A lot of you have already figured it out, which is really cool. So we can help one another in the chat, the Telegram chat for the trust account classes. How to do a quick claim deed on certificate of live birth. All right. That's to capture your straw man so that it can no longer be floating around in there out of there in commerce with no guidance that doesn't come from you, right? Right. Let's see. You no longer need to have them apostilled or authenticated by the state and federal State Department. Okay. You only need certified copy, long form preferred, right? All right. I'm going to post all this in the Telegram room too. All right. So we're going to show you once a lot more of you get trust up and running and operating, we're going to show you how to do a quick claim deed on your birth certificate if you hadn't already figured it out. Because it's going to be similar, yes, Delphine, to doing a quick claim like on your deeded property and all that, right? That's okay. Sherry Bodell, that's fine. All right. That's fine too. At least you got it done. All right. So stand there. Yeah, the EIN is for your trust and your PO box, right? All right. So the next thing, that we're going to update is the I'll worry about that later, but the next thing that we're going to update about the trust is the PO box. Okay. a lot of folks are running into cost. Okay, some places are being very expensive on PO boxes. Okay, some people are, depending on how you approach them, some post offices are being very leery about you having a PO box for your trust. Okay, just continue to follow instructions when they try to push you away. Remember, they must show you that you can't do what you're asking to do. All right. Yeah, property taxes need to end. All right, so the PO box. All right. If you can't afford, if cost, which ours was expensive, we questioned whether we could afford it right now. But we went ahead and cut some things out and made it happen. But there's others that can't. Okay, and I get it. All right. So if cost is an issue with the PO box, all right, then you can do this. Okay, and that is if cost is an issue with the PO box, then you can do this. You can use your home address. Use home address, okay, as long as you maintain jurisdiction, right? So how do you maintain jurisdiction? The zip code must be in the PO box, all right? Example. All right. In order to maintain jurisdiction as a sovereign of your home address, you simply put your zip code in the kill box. All right. So the kill box, that's the left-hand side right there. And then you put your zip code 27529. That's my house. And then you close out the kill box with the right side. Okay. All right. That's only until you can't. That's only in case you can't afford the PO box right now, which I understand a lot of people can't. Yeah, Joe is a big help on the kill box piece. All right. You don't have to put your zip code time. No, when you're doing business, all right, you want to do that, especially when you're doing business with the federal government or the court systems, whether local or federal, the state, yada yada yada. All right, because remember, commerce is still going to be here. Yeah, we are preferring folks email Joe first when they need assistance from Joe. Joe does a real good job helping explain the kill box. We played a couple of videos on the show about it. I don't remember which the dates were. So Delphine, if you're sending a letter, to Aunt Susie, who lives across the country, you obviously don't need to worry about jurisdiction, right? Jurisdiction is only when you're acting in commerce or carrying out a function in commerce, either with the local or federal government, and or any business, right? Like your coupon methods. You want to put your zip code in the kill box on your coupon method. Because these companies, the fraudulent companies, with their Ponzi schemes galore, think that they have right to claim jurisdiction of you because the United States they think is still in business. All right, shame on them. Joke's on them, right? Fuck them if they can't take a joke. All right, so those are the big major updates. All right, one last update. All right, recording. So we've had this thing about recording your trust in the trust class. You no longer have to do that. All right. You no longer have to do that. You no longer have to file it in miscellaneous. We talked about that in the trust class. I don't remember how to spell miscellaneous. But file it. File it is what I'll leave it at right now. All right, and I'll get back to you as I can update even further. And I had this all put out on a PowerPoint so I could show everybody, but for some reason it won't open. But so you no longer have to have the trust recorded. All right. We had the trust class where we showed you how to, or explained to you how you had to go do that. Kennedy, you have a PO box where you work. Should I get a new PO box at another post office? If the PO box that you have is not listed for in your trust name, then yes, you should. You want your PO box to be listed in your trust name. Right on, Delphine. Good, good, good. All right, so I will add the stuff that I'm leaving off on the recordings, because there's other things that you have to have recorded too. As far as I know, if you're doing property, quit claim deed on property is the only thing that you have to record. All right. There's a ton of memes, or there's a good number of memes in here to help you. Okay, let me So Yvonne made this one for everybody. Protecting your trust privacy, best practices. To safeguard the privacy of your private unincorporated trust, it's crucial to be proactive when dealing with banks. Here's how. Provide a certification of trust, okay? Instead of handing over the entire trust document, offer a certification of trust. This is a condensed summary that includes only the essential information, such as the trust name, date of creation, trustee names, and their authority. It does not disclose assets, details, or beneficiary information. All right. Limit disclosure. If the bank insists on seeing certain sections of the trust agreement, provide only the necessary excerpts. Redact any sensitive information that is unrelated to the bank's request. Refuse copying. Clearly state that you do not authorize the bank to make copies of your trust documents. Explain that doing so would violate your privacy and the confidentiality of the trust. Okay. Request a non-disclosure agreement, NDA. If the bank insists on making copies, ask them to sign an NDA. This agreement should outline how the documents will be stored and limit who can access them. All right. It's a very simple document to make yourself. All right. Non-disclosure, right? It's a non-disclosure agreement. So also, we talked about here with the banking. Update to include TTEE. If they refuse to let you do that, don't want to recognize you as a trustee, which they can do, it doesn't mean it's lawful. Ask them to show you where in their bylaws it says that you can't do that. Okay, it's something that you do very politely, and people have benefited from that when they can't show you that in writing that was existing. Then they have to let you. All right. And always remember, you're the one in control. You do not have to fear or anything. All right. There's a good meme that Mrs. Sheepdog shared, that Leanne shared in the group. There exists no law preventing the establishment of a nation card. Okay. In fact, Aboriginal and Indigenous people have the right to establish their own identification that must be respected, even unto federal law, of which all states and several states are an enclave of. Proof of same is their FID number, federal identification number. The federal government cannot violate the law of the land either. They are likened to a management to ensure the states and several states comes into the union and follows the law of the land. All governments are to protect, secure, and preserve the rights of the people and the law of the land. A true identification is to include your appellation or nomen, not name. As a name is a tag or label for corporation. It can also include your mother's appellation, a mailing location, not an address. When it says a mailing location, folks, not an address, they're looking for longitude and latitude. All right. The natural born day or not, and a photo. You could create these statement of facts on a piece of paper, a writ, if you want to, and have it sealed and even notarized as fact and proof of identification. There's no greater form of identification for you than the presence of you. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand that? You are your own notary, folks. All right? Your thumbprint is the highest notary. Therefore, if you get it notarized otherwise, that notary is for them to file in their, not for you. Their notary of your information does not make your information come to life. Their notary of your information does not make your information come to life. Only your notary. Red thumbprint onto the left of your signature of your autograph. Remember, notaries were established for those who could not read and write. The truth is, you and your presence is the highest proof of existence, and your thumbprint, footprint, not any corporate artifices or paper stock. You and your very own presence, as grand as it is, full of grace and love, is the greatest identification piece you could ever present to anybody on the planet. Go live and be a wonderful human being that you are. Allow yourself to soar. You have the power. All right, go through these memes, guys. There's a lot of memes in here to help you along the way. All right. There's audio recordings in here. of all the Q&As. Okay. There's the trustee handbook that has been audio recorded from Weiss. All right. There is quite a bit of good stuff, good content in there. Downloads, okay. Miss Gloria, I know I got to send the downloads to you, but they're all in here under this file. Step by step, even is in here. All right. There's a legacy tree for homework PDF. There's the legacy tree if you want to start building out your legacy tree. Legacy tree for homework PDF. Another one. Another homework PDF, right? Each stage in each class, we had a homework PDF for you. I think, let's see here. CDC goes, order birth certificates online through Vital Check. Okay. Get copies of vital records and ID cards, us.gov. USA.gov, right? U.S. birth certificates and vital records, order online. How to replace and amend a council report of birth abroad. All right. That's for orphans, right? Or people that were adopted. All right. Here's the entire trust layout right here. Each one has its own example. You just correct for your trust, then print it out. These are the actual documents that go into your trust. All right. Abstract and trust comes first. There's examples. Express trust declaration is next. Certificate of irrevocable trust. You click on them and then you go over here to save as, and it'll bring it up and save it on your computer. I save it on the desktop. Usually it has a good appropriate name that you'll easily remember. Already in place in the trust class. Not always, but it usually does. You just click save. All right. The red is fill in the blank. Okay. Certificate of trust. Remember, you got to look up your code for your state. All right. Certificate of trust, and right under that goes the code for your state. The ABC Legacy Trust, or your name of the name of your trust goes in the next blank. All right, so on and so forth. It's right there. It's all done for you. All right. So there's the entire list of the documents that you need to have to complete your trust. You just start picking them off one by one, get them done. All right. There's a basic non-disclosure agreement in there that you can build upon. If you have Acrobat with it, you can click Edit with Acrobat. Then you can convert it to a PDF. It'll take just a second. See, these documents are very, very thorough. Can y'all hear me? Or am I breaking up? Yeah, we all need to do a 12-step program, right? The biggest obstacle is starting. Yes, you don't need a notary outside of yourself to get a bond. You can create your own security bonds once your trust is completed. we're going to show you in the next class how to do that. All right, you can create your own surety bond once you're funded properly. In other words, there's an inclination that you will get a divine inheritance. And we'll see how that plays out, but it's there for you. Goes back 8 generations or 12 generations, one or two. I can't remember what was said by Taj, but it is there. And Sheepdog, Mr. Sheepdog, y'all correct me if I overstepped on any of that. All right. So that's the updates for your trust class, folks. I am preparing the next set of classes. Okay. People, if you haven't taken the trust class and you want to, please get in touch with me. Let's see what we can work out. All right. Obviously, I can't do everybody with a scholarship, but I might be able to do some more scholarships. Let's see what we can work out. All right. As we continue to add people who are lacking in funds into these classes and their ability to view shows to do such, we need more subscribers too, folks. Okay. $5.99 a month. It's not a lot. Server space is very expensive. All right. There's some good videos in the video file. There's a general file. Be ready in a flash. Create a survival flash drive. That's the only thing in there right there. That's a pretty good piece right there. This is the video file for the trust class, and all it is, the Telegram channel is a Divine Salvation for Humanity. All right, there's 485 members in here. There's PDF books in here. Common Law Handbook is in PDF form. Be the one to execute your trust PDF. The Law of Nations, the International Law, or the Law of Nations, or the Principles of Natural Law. Good, very good PDF. Goes right along with a lot of the stuff in Forbidden Civics and the Fruit of a Poisonous Tree. Some of that Sheepdog read from tonight. Yeah, The Law of Nations, Introduction to the Law of Peace by J.L. Brierley. The 6th edition is a good book to get. They're hard to get. Okay, they're not laying around everywhere. They don't let those books fly around, but they're starting to get more and more of them available. All right. So that's the updates for the trust class. All right. A lot of information dropped in your lap tonight. All of it was good, folks. If you have a negative perception, you have to remember that perception is yours. It didn't come from me. It didn't come from Sheepdog. It didn't come from sorry you got interrupted, Adriana. Yes, the replay is available. The chat is wonderful. People are helping everybody out, each other out in the chat all the time, folks. As everybody learns, all right. As everybody learns, then they're simply sharing what they learned and the action they took to learn it. Okay, to share your knowledge because you read a book is one thing. The real story begins when you show everybody. When you show everybody through the action that you took, the knowledge was factual and respectful. It was done. It was done and given to one in honor. The documents are located in the Divine Salvation for Humanity chat. If you've registered for the class or paid for the class, or you got a scholarship, then you got access. Yes, ma'am, Miss Susan. Feel free to call me, Miss Susan, if you have any other questions. I'll be glad to help. Okay. Sheepdog, I think that about covers it for us tonight, doesn't it? If I hadn't put you to sleep over there, I'm sure I might have put you to sleep.
No, we're good.
Right.
That covers it.
All right. We may do a Telegram live this Saturday, folks. We haven't decided yet. I do know that I will be out of pocket again tomorrow. Tomorrow's race day at the local track here. We'll see if the weather holds out for any more racing throughout the weekend, but we pretty much are going to get wrapped up in the races tomorrow night. Mr. and Mrs. Sheepdog are going to be running a triathlon in a couple of days. Yeah. I'm just kidding, folks. They're not going to be running a triathlon, but it sometimes feels like we do when we get into these subjects and we have to research down every rabbit hole all the way to the very end of the route, right? Yeah, I like Hammerhead. I like Hammerhead Garage. Yep, good stuff there. Thank you, truth be told. It's a YouTube channel, folks, called Hammerhead Garage. Common Law. He's fantastic. Tony Ferrari, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Is that correct, Sheepdog?
Oh, I don't know. I don't watch it. I don't know if that's who it is.
No, I'm talking about Tony Ferrari, the guy that we had shared with everybody is another one when it comes to common law and
oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, on TikTok. There you go. I was trying to remember what platform he was really strong on. He gives out his email address, folks. Once you emailed him and he deems a legitimate reach out, then he'll give you his phone number. We give out his phone number several times, but I think he's just really doing things by email first. I'm working on that, Krista. I'd like to think that we wouldn't have to pay for the second round of trust class, but we'll see. Okay. Like I said, server space is very, very expensive, and I'm not crying in my spilt milk here. It's just we've really done this on a shoestring budget because it's really been out of pocket, and we've been benevolent a lot. Okay, the monies from proceeds that have come in, we have spent helping people. We're getting ready to come up on a couple projects that we've been working on, like getting our dear friend in Florida travel trailer set up for her temporary living conditions until we get to the other side of this, so that she can shower and have human decency and shower and a bathroom that works and be able to cook for herself and all those things. That's one of the projects we're working on. We just completed a sewage line replacement, not the whole entire sewage, but a sewage line replacement. We're still helping out occasionally with electricity, electrical bills, and groceries. And so on and so forth. So we've been very benevolent. The cost to put on this class and update the .com was not necessarily astronomical, but it was costly. Okay, and we're very proud for the community that stood up and helped with that. because a lot of people subscribe, or not subscribe. Well, a lot of people did subscribe, but a lot of people paid for the class to be able to, and then offered, donations to give out scholarships as well. So a lot of that 485 members was all the community working together to make sure we got as many people as we could in the first trust class and watching every show. It's all right if you can't donate, just always be positive with us and share a loving word. That's just as good to us as well as someone donating. And that's what we're all about, guys. We might not agree on everything, but we can unify and help one another. Kaz, can you put Joe's email inside the Rumble chat? We want to make sure everybody here understands that while we can be judgmental from time to time because we get knee-jerk reactions, there's really no longevity in condemnation or judgment in our community. We are working hard to get our tribe set up and recognized internationally as well. And a lot of good stuff coming along the pipeline with that. We're working on doing a super show, if you will, where we have a lot of as many people as we can get on one show that are out there doing the same thing we're doing, and that's putting as much of the truth out as we can get our hands on. Oh, Kaz had to leave early. No worries. No worries. I'll send her a text. So that we can get Joe's email out to you. Or you can send me a text and I'll get Joe's email out to you. I think it's probably the best way to do that. Yeah, Joe's email is not listed anywhere. Kaz and I have it. Leanne had it. I'll make sure that we have access to it. Glenda, I'm glad you're still here. I need to speak with you and your husband this weekend. Saturday preferably, if not Sunday. You know what that's about, right?
Is it just a joke?
My number is 919-207-7667. What's going on, Sheepdog? Mrs. Sheepdog back there whispering jokes. My phone number one more time. 919-207-7667. All right. All right. I want to let each and every one of you know that we have nothing but admiration for each and every one of you that have been here just a couple of minutes shy of 3 hours with us tonight. Those that were here for most of it, we love you all, and those that will watch the replay, thank you so much. Let's move forward in love and light. Have a good night.